there, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna Jones. I'm an eating disordered specialized registered dietitian and an online intuitive eating coach. Today I am so excited to discuss a topic to you that's near and dear to my heart, and that's weight stigma. Today, September 28th, marks the second annual Weight Stigma Awareness Week. And it was started by the National Eating Disorder Association to raise awareness about weight stigma and how that can potentially negatively affect not only people's health, but also increase the risk for eating disorders. And for my usual disclaimer, this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. You should always talk to your physician, your dietitian, or any other clinicians you're working with about your unique case before making any changes to your health behaviors. I also want to put out an additional disclaimer. This video discusses some sensitive topics, and so it can be or may be a little bit triggering for someone who is experiencing an eating disorder or disordered eating. So please keep that in mind if you choose to watch this video. So what exactly is weight stigma? Weight stigma can really look like any of the following. It could be teasing, it could be bullying, it could be social isolation, and it could be discrimination based on someone's weight and body shape. People in larger bodies are often seen as lazy or stupid or lacking self-control and willpower, both in their personal and their professional lives. And those who experience weight stigma often experience it from their family members, their friends, acquaintances, co-workers, people on the street, people on the internet. I mean, how many times have you seen comments on like videos or Instagram posts or things like that of people saying, oh, you just need to lose weight or eat less and exercise more? Like, that in itself is a form of weight stigma. In fact, Michigan is the only state in the United States that have laws that protect employees against discrimination based on their weight or clinical diagnosis of obesity. So in many ways, it's almost like socially acceptable to bully or tease or discriminate someone based on their weight. And that can have some serious health complications. Multiple studies have shown that weight stigma decreases a person's overall quality of life. It also puts them at a higher risk for developing heart disease and really puts them at a higher risk for all-cause mortality as well, or increasing their risk for death. Weight stigma also affects someone's mental health. It has been shown to cause greater symptoms related to depression and anxiety, social isolation, and even social phobia, body dissatisfaction, and lower self-esteem. Unfortunately, in our society, weight stigma is often seen as necessary because it motivates someone to lose weight. But many studies have shown that weight stigma actually decreases a person's self-efficacy or their confidence in their ability to have an impact on their overall health. Weight stigma is especially dangerous in adolescence because what we see is that the younger a person is when they start dieting, the higher that increased risk is for developing an eating disorder or even disordered eating kind of like habits or behaviors. Adolescents who experience weight stigma are actually at a much higher risk for engaging in unhealthy weight control behaviors. That includes fasting or restricting and even vomiting. It also puts them at a higher risk for binge eating or emotionally eating. Weight stigma can be especially harmful in the medical field. Many clinicians are taught the energy in equals energy out model, or if you just exercise more and eat less, you'll lose weight. But what we've seen in research is that there are a lot of factors that actually go into a person's ability to lose weight and also their overall health. Things such as social economic factors or genetics play a huge role in a person's ability to lose weight. So it's not as simple as calories in, calories out. And unfortunately, what we've seen is that because many clinicians are taught this model, when they witness their patients not losing weight, their patients are often seen as lazy, lacking self-efficacy, and overall control or willpower in the ability to lose weight. As a result, patients in larger bodies often receive less patient-centered care. There was one study that showed that clinicians spend 28% less time with patients in larger bodies compared to those in what's considered normal bodies because they were, quote, a waste of time. Even worse, less patient-centered care often predicts lower adherence to medical recommendations and treatments, a reduced trust in the patient-clinician relationship, and worse outcomes for the patient overall. Patients in larger bodies often report a perceived lack of empathy from their clinicians, which makes it much harder for them to kind of open up or be honest or communicate with what's going on or what their personal concerns are for their health. Likewise, they're more likely to be less engaged or even withdrawn when they're communicating with their clinicians. This can make it harder for patients in larger bodies to remember instructions or recommendations, which decreases their ability to adhere to those recommendations or adhere to that education that they've received. And one of the big side effects that really plays into weight stigma is stress. If a patient in a larger body is experiencing that lack of empathy or that lack of patient-centered care, they may feel stressed in talking to their doctor or their clinician about their health concerns. In the short term, that stress response that they're feeling can make it really hard to communicate either their health concerns or maybe even communicate any questions they might be having about new information they're receiving. And it can even make just like learning new information, whether it's about their treatment or any medical recommendations, that much harder to really retain and understand. Furthermore, long-term exposure to the stress response can increase the person's risk for depression, anxiety, heart disease, and stroke. When you combine that lack of empathy that patients in larger bodies describe with the feeling of stress that results from experiencing weight stigma or even anticipating weight stigma, when you combine both of those things, it often prevents patients in larger bodies from even seeking out medical care because they don't want to constantly hear that they don't adhere to treatment or they need to lose weight or they're going to die. Like all of that prevents patients from even seeking out care. So when those patients eventually do go see their doctor or their dietitian or whoever again, chances are that health concern that they have or maybe a chronic disease that they had is in a worse state because they waited as long as possible so that they could avoid experiencing that weight stigma. So their long-term health outcomes are that much worse than if they would have just continued seeing their doctor on a regular basis like what's recommended. But they've been avoiding their doctor, they've been avoiding their clinicians because they didn't want to experience that lack of empathy. They didn't want to experience that weight stigma. Weight stigma can have such a negative impact on our mental and physical well-being. As a society, it's so important that we raise awareness about weight stigma so that we can do something about it. We need to have laws and policies in place that protect people in larger bodies, both in the workplace and online, so they're not subject to so much bullying. We need to educate clinicians on their own personal biases and train them on how to work with patients in larger bodies so that they're getting that level of respect and empathy and care that they deserve when it comes to medical treatment. And finally, we need to call out weight stigma when we see it. We need to voice when it's a problem because otherwise it's going to keep on being this socially acceptable form of discrimination. And all forms of discrimination are not okay. If you'd like more information about weight stigma, please visit my website, thewittyavocado.com. I have 2 blog posts that touch on just this topic and include the references to many of the statistics and the information that I presented today. Please subscribe to my channel. I have 2 more videos coming this week that are intended to help raise awareness of weight stigma in our society. The first video being my own personal experiences with weight stigma, and the second one being how weight stigma negatively influences eating disorders in our country. And as always, please feel free to follow me in all forms of social media. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at @thewittyavocado. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about weight stigma, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.